Dear fear, you always write me letters, and if fear writes letters, then so will I. Dear fear, you always arrive uninvited and you don't knock. You just slip into my thoughts like a fog. You whisper timelines, drop deadlines, and magnify silence. You say I'm behind, that I've missed it, that maybe I've been skipped. Maybe heaven closed its book on me. But I've decided to write back. Dear written hand of God, what do you say to all this? To the noise, to the void, to the ache that overstayed its welcome? Because fear is loud today. Dear child, it is written, I am not slow in keeping my promises, as some understand slowness. I am the author of time, the keeper of seasons, the one who makes all things beautiful in their time. Fear rushes you, but I teach you to rest. Delay, it's not denial, it's divine design. You're not behind, you're being built. Dear fear, you told me I'm too old, that the love story expired, that fruitfulness isn't my portion. You mocked my obedience, called it foolishness. You made me afraid to hope again. Dear written hand of God, is hope still holy? Dear child, it is written, hope does not put us to shame. Even Sarah laughed, but I opened her womb. Lazarus died, but I called him out. Your hope, it's not naive. It's anchored in me, tethered to a throne that does not tremble. Dear fear, you brought up my past like a prosecutor with receipts. You held my shame like trophies. You convinced me I was too stained to be chosen. Dear written hand of God, what about my mistakes? Dear child, it is written, there is now no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus. I still used David even after his scandal. I redeemed Rahab with that kind of reputation she had. I restored Peter even after the denial and prayed for him. You know, you still carry my breath. Your scars are not proof of shame. They are evidence that you survived. You're not too stained to be chosen. You're too marked to be ignored. Dear fear, you almost convinced me, almost made me shrink, almost made me settle. But I remembered there's another voice, another story, another hand still writing. Dear hand of God, write louder, deeper, write over every lie, engrave truth on the tablets of my soul. Dear fear, you came back. One last whisper, one last threat. You told me I will regret thrusting again. That I dreamed too big, I believed too far, hoped too high. You came to reclaim ground, but I've already given it back to God. You want a reaction? No, you don't get it. Because this is where I draw the line. Not out of panic, but from position. Not in ink, but in blood. I draw it between your lies and God's truth. between your accusations and his affirmations, between your fear and his faithfulness. I renounce the courtroom of fear and I rise to the verdict already written. Justified, redeemed, appointed, sent. I reject the voice of delay because God is the author of my clock. Even too late becomes right on time. I silence every voice that tried to rewrite my story with the ink of insecurity, because before fear ever spoke, the word was already made flesh. Before rejection ever touched me, my name was already carved into the palms of his hands. The future doesn't intimidate me. It answers to the one who wrote it. I do not walk by statistics. I walk by what's being spoken. I do not measure my worth by who left. I measure it by the cross that stayed when no one else did. So dear fear, I say boldly, you are a trespasser. You were never the author. You are fired from narrating my life. Dear written hand of God, you wrote this truth in fire, scripted this destiny in ink that cannot fade, and sealed me with a name fear cannot pronounce. So as I draw my sword between the whispers and what's written, between anxiety and authority, today and always, I choose what's written. I choose who wrote it. And I choose to live like he already called it finished. And now hear this truth. Written not in ink, but in the Spirit. Beloved, you are unique. You are chosen. You are the chosen one, called before the foundations of the world. The Hebrew word is Yachid. Ephesians 1, chapter number 4. Child of God, born not of blood, nor of the will of man, but of the will of God. John 1, 12 and 13. You carry the covenant mark, the Brit sealed on your heart. Jeremiah chapter number 31, verse 33. Your name is engraved on the palms of the one who holds time itself. Isaiah 49:16. You are the bride, holy and set apart. 2 Corinthians 11:2. The temple of the Lord, where the Spirit dwells. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Your identity is not destined by fear, failure, or past wounds. You are wrapped in the zigzags of his promises, bound by the everlasting covenant that will not be broken. Psalms 89:34. Now, my dear beloved, rise now and declare it aloud. I am chosen. I am redeemed. I am called by the name God ordained from the foundations of the earth. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob calls me his own. I walk in covenant identity. I am the righteousness of the Messiah. 2 Corinthians 5:21. Fear has no claim on me, for I am sealed with a spirit of promise. I am forever his. So stand firm in your identity, beloved, for this is not a label, but a living, breathing covenant, a truth that cannot be erased by death, and a destiny no fear can overturn. Selah.